Today I'm going to show you how I designed, modeled, animated, and composited this spaceship monster mandible space opera thing. So you're going to need a basic understanding of Cinema 4D, Octane, and After Effects to get the most out of this tutorial. But if all or some of those words are new to you, then I still think this is a good place to start and to get an introduction to how this software works together and how it can be used. And also I'm giving away the project file for free, which you can download in the description below. That way you can kind of take your time and really look at what's been done in the project and use some of the files yourself. All right, let's dive in and have a look. Okay, here's my project file. And as you see, the ship is going towards this light, this ring, and then there's this Vectron in the background. So I'll show you how we can get a Vectron. Okay, first of all, you're gonna need your Octane Alive Viewer window. Let's just dock that to the side here. To make our Vectron within the Octane Live Viewer, we're gonna go to Objects, Vectron. Then let's get our scene up and running. Select our Vectron, and down here there's all this script language. I don't understand it. You don't need to either. We're gonna go to Script Category and just change that to Vectron. And then within that, in the script presets, there's some options, and we're going to go to Mandibulb 2. Now it may show up kind of like it's just a sphere, nothing's happened, so let's just send our scene again, and boom, there's our Vectron. It kind of looks like one of those water bears that are from outer space. And now to animate this the way I did, I keyframed the power. So as you see, if we go from 8 to 9, it's going to give us the next step, and it's pretty sensitive, so you'll want to animate that lightly. Now the spaceship I used is something I created myself, and it's pretty basic and primitive. I'm going to show you how I created that in Cinema 4D, and you can have the file yourself in the link below. This will give you a little introduction on the basics and should get you starting with modeling and at least having a bit of fun with it. All right, let's start off by making a cube. We're going to click that. Let's make sure under display we have Gerard shading checked and wireframe. That will allow us to have these black lines over our edges, and we can kind of see what's going on. So with our live cube, we're going to add 2 segments to the middle there. We're going to select it and click C on our keyboard, and now it's editable. We're going to get out of model mode and go to poly mode, and you'll see some tools here on the side, and those are going to be very useful. So if we look at this as the middle of our ship, and these are going to kind of develop our wings or the side of the ship, and I'm going to select this side and hold on to shift and click this side, so now I have both selected at once. Now we're going to toggle the active view, and this allows us to see from the top, the front, the right. Make this window a little bigger. Select size, and now we can stretch this out, make it wider. Take this front, and we're going to go back to arrow, and we're going to bring this forward. You see our top view, we have kind of this similar shape to what I've made in the video. And now another thing down here we're going to use is this subdivision surface effect, and we're going to drop our cube into that. And whoa, what happened? It's subdividing our shape, and it's adding more polys for us. And Sub D mode is in pretty much every 3D software. It allows you to keep things simple so you can edit them easy, and then in Sub D mode it collapses everything and it makes it more complex. But if you're stuck with a ship like this that's super complex, it's going to be super hard to edit because there's so many polys. But it's obviously a great look to end with, to have everything smoothed out, but we're not there yet, so let's just leave that off and we'll check in and out when we're ready. I'm going to go to world mode, and let's do our size, and it seems a little tall, so we're going to bring it down. Now I want to have a cockpit, so I'm going to slice this down the middle. I'm going to go to our face mode, and we're going to use this loop path cut. You can drag this out. It might be a knife on your end, but we want to find this loop path. So I'm going to deselect that poly, make sure it's selected. And to get dead center, we're going to hold on to shift, and then it gives us some notches to work with. To change the rate of notches, we can adjust this quantize step. So we're going to go in the middle, and we're going to select this poly and bring that out. Let's see how our sub D mode's looking. Now we're going to change to edge mode, and let's click that guy here and this one here, and we're going to go to size and bring these together. Now here on our butt, we're going to select these polygons, and we're going to use this inset tool, and we're going to drag off screen like this and just bring that down. Now I'm going to undo that and just show you what happens in sub D mode when I do that. Here's the main polys that we have selected, and now whoa, it completely changes the shape of the ship. So when you have these edges kind of close together, it's sub D mode reads that as something that's more complex, and this is how it interprets it. something you kind of get used to the more you use it. Now I'm going to use this extrude button, which kind of expands the polys. And I want to extrude it inwards, but I just want to do a little bit because now when I let go, we've made another line here, which will add to our complexity. And now I'm going to make it deeper. So you have those lines. We're going to turn back on sub B mode. And now we have these like weird jet engines. Kind of neat. If we want to see some better detail, we can display isoparms, and that's kind of what we're working with right now. And you know what? Some ships are not any more complicated than this, and I'm not much of a designer, so since my ship wasn't used in a very prominent moment, you only saw the back end and then you saw a wide shot, I didn't add too much detail, but the engines were in the shot. I added some shapes like spheres for the blast. And then if you look at that model, I also added just a cloner with some cubes. Basically just simple details to, I don't know, make it look detailed. And if you're happy with this and you want to start modeling it, click that sub D mode and hit C again, and now it's forever in this state. Now let's go to poly mode and let's select this spot to make a windshield. I'm just gonna make a black material. Once we have selected, right click our material and click apply. Now look at that. Choo choo. There are no rules. Now I know people in the comments who know this software even better than I do will probably say, hey Sean, you dummy, there's an effect called symmetry. And when you add something like a cube to it or anything else, it'll double everything you do on that side. So you don't have to do silly things like select each opposite side. Okay, well, if you want to mess with symmetry and figure that out, that's fine. It just, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I don't know why. But basically you'll add a cube. Let's cut a line down the middle. Let's turn symmetry off, and we're going to make that editable. And let's do this loop select. Let's delete these poly and delete that poly and turn back on symmetry. And now all you have to do is select one side at a time, and look, it's the same idea. And then you can even add more shapes to this and make some crazy looking thingies. Look at that ship. Oh, wait, no, you can't. Oh, there we go. Guys, modeling can be kind of fun. All right. Get good at it before AI does, so that you'll know how much fun it is before you just start typing in prompts for everything you want to design and let the computer do it. So in my project file, I set up a couple shots. This is shot 1. And here I have active this sphere and this torus, which are kind of infused inside of this Vectron. As you can see, the Vectron doesn't show up in the live viewer because it's an Octane specific item. So for the sphere and torus, I have this emissive material. It's an Octane material, and I created it by going to extensions, Octane material, emission, and blackbody emission. And from there, I just dialed this down to, I think, 7. So if you look in the emissive one I actually used, yeah, 7. Same with this blue flame. Add a gradient to the opacity texture, and then that kind of made it transparent. Of course, here you see it transparent, but not here. So the main thing that sells this whole thing is in my settings, if you go to the gear, and we change it from direct lighting to path tracing. And now you'll see the magic happen, which is how the light hits everything now. It's completely different. And we get that kind of god-like cathedral weird glowiness. So after that, I brought everything into After Effects by simply taking that project file, dragging and dropping it, bringing in here, and then in Cinema, I added these external compositing tags just by right-clicking, render tags, external compositing, and now when I save, every layer that has this on it will appear here when I hit extract. So I get my cameras, my lights, and these external compositing tags. Then of course I took my render, which is a TIFF sequence, drag it in, and I use this quick lens flare script from aescripts.com, which works with the plugin Optical Flares by Andrew Kramer, and it creates a lens flare that's attached to a 3D null, so you can use it more easily in a 3D scene. So then took this null, just copied the transform values, and then tweak the settings. Obviously the scale is way different, so I'm just gonna put this to 1, reduce that brightness. I'm gonna take the Z space back a bit, and that just adds an extra level of flavor. Add an adjustment layer, and you can never go wrong with a bit of curves for some color correction. Give it that cinematic feel. A little before and after. And I'm not on the best computer for rendering this 3D heavy stuff, so when it comes to something as intense as this Vectron, my max samples was set at 200 for my render, which means I have quite a bit of noise, and that still took like about 20 hours for each shot just to get that result. So when you're rendering with these Vectrons, just be aware. I mean, there's a lot of geometry, a lot of detail in here, so it takes quite a while to get things looking good. But I'm a big fan of film grain, and so I use my film grain builders pack in most personal projects that I create. I just love a film grain look. This one's for sale on my website, so you can check it out. Under templates, I've got some After Effects templates, and one of my favorites is the 16mm. It's just kind of the grungiest. And then I can check in here, there's a 916. I'm gonna drag that in, come here, I'm just gonna turn off the sample footage, turn off the LUT, and I'm gonna turn off this frame, come back, and then I'm gonna click this eternal rasterization. This grain kind of makes the grain that's embedded in my render, look a little bit more intentional. And if anything, I can even just, dial that back so it's not as intense, and we can just rely on the grain that came from the render itself. Yeah, it looks like it was meant to be there. I'm gonna dial down this vignette, dial down the flicker. Now in my actual project folder that I had made, I actually did a render pass of this ship without the background, just to act as an object buffer, because I had some flares on the Vectron as well as the ship, and then the Vectron was interfering with the ship. So I just kind of used this as a way to bring back some of the ship since it's in front of that, and we're compositing here in After Effects. I added flares for all the engines, and also experimented with my music right here in After Effects, because why not? A little bit of a burn from the frame builders pack that I color corrected just to be a bit more blue to match the scene. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the project file in the link below. Care Bear Countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That wasn't just a Canadian show, right? Did you guys watch that in America and Australia and stuff? I liked it a lot.